Minutes to start.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EFRA 1/10th IC Track European Championships. And this is the session we've been waiting for all day. This is SuperPole, and we are ready for what is going to be an absolute blast of a session. This is tension like you've never seen before in any motorsport event, be it full scale, RC or otherwise. It is absolute thriller-minute stuff, and it requires nerves of steel to be successful in it. So basically, if you've never seen a SuperPole round before, and the chances are you may not have done because they were only introduced at the 1/8 equivalent of this championship, the 1/8 IC Track Championships in Ettlingen in Germany just 2 weeks ago. I had the privilege of commentating on that event. And the SuperPole format effectively works. And as you can see on the driver stand with our picture-in-picture shot there, one driver is up on the stand at any one time. One car on the track is up on the stand, out on the track at once. They get 6 laps to do their best shot. And their fastest lap at the end of it goes forward, and whoever has the fastest lap overall will be the winner of SuperPole. And it's 2nd through 5th of the overall qualifiers. So you've got your top qualifier who sat back in the pits enjoying this and watching this from the sidelines without any worries. But these guys out there are going to have to hustle their way through and fight their way through. And get ready as the warm-up continues. And it is absolute nerves of steel required. The grandstand is already filling up, more than it has been the whole event so far. See there, we've got our screen-in-screen shot there. 1 minute before we start then, SuperPole is about to get underway for the Euro B field. And your field for this will be Yannick Numislo, Nikos Georgiadis, Spreng Heli and Kaya Ali. And if I've got it right, they should be going in reverse order, so 5th through 2nd will be out there. So this should be Kaya Ali. And a big round of applause.
Bit of information for you. I've just been speaking to Javier, the timekeeper. So he gets 4 minutes warm-up.
4 minutes of warm-up.
He, as soon as the 4 minutes is up, when he passes the timing loop, it's maximum of 6 laps. Once he passes on the 6th lap, finished.
That's it. It's all over.
You will see 4 drivers on the screen, but you will only see 1 clocking a time.
Yep. So here we go then. It's Kaya Ali first up. And the grandstands are already filling up. It's SuperPole, ladies and gentlemen. It's tension, RC style. Straight out and underway. So his session is in. This will be the first of his 6 laps. I believe either he has a preliminary warm-up session or these are his laps already in the books. We'll see if they come round. Yeah, some minutes of time. Remember, no more than 6 laps can he complete. Comes across the line first time. Coming through. That's his first lap on the board. For Kaya Ali, only a 27.9. He knows he can do better than that. He knows he can go quicker. And he'll be hoping to this time. A benchmark should be a low 27 or a high 26. That should guarantee him through. As you watch on the screen, look at this. Absolute nerves. Just him alone in the driver's stand. Normally he'd be flanked by 9, maybe 8 of his colleagues. Today, it is only him though. He's had an off. He's had an off. And as if he needed telling twice about the pressure that these drivers are under in this SuperPole session, with the microscope focused firmly on them. It's amazing the cracks that suddenly appear in the seemingly ice-cool facade. Not a blink though from Kaya. He's ineffective, but that lap will effectively be gone. Can he do something better this time? He's done 3 laps. His best so far, 27.878. I think he's going to need to go a bit quicker than that. He wants to get through as SuperPole winner. I'm going to have a press conference with everyone involved, all the winners of SuperPole and the top qualifiers at the end of the broadcast. And it'll be fascinating to hear their responses and reactions to this session. Coming through to complete lap 4 now. How's this looking? That's better. 20.050. He still needs... His best time is still a 27.878. I think he needs something a bit better. I really do think he needs something better. He just hesitates a little bit on corner entry. There's no one else on track either as a guide. Thing too. He comes across the line. 27.063. Now that's better. That is much better from Kaya Ali. That's the opening salvo he needed to fire to put his opponents on notice. This is the speed of this homegrown Turkish driver. And that is the benchmark that all who follow will have to beat. Can he improve even further as he comes round? Final time. Can he break the 26s? He does not. It was a 27.107. He saved his best laps for last. And a phenomenal drive from Kaya Ali then to nail a 27.063 on the mast. Great job there. And look at his focus. Still hasn't broken. Now he breaks a smile. Finally. He allows a bit of emotion in. And James, what an opening salvo that was.
Yeah, no, it was great. It's, like I say earlier, first time doing a SuperPole. Well, first time I've covered a SuperPole anyway. We were speaking to Hagberg earlier, who said they tried the SuperPole in the warm-up, and I quoted said it was good fun. So, yeah, it was good, interesting.
It is great action, and I think something different in an RC racing weekend. It's sudden death. It gives the driver a second chance at a top qualified position. Of course, they can't get the pole. The top qualifier is already there, and they must be rather enjoying watching this in the sidelines rather than participating itself. I remember speaking to Simon Kurzbuch on that point back in Ettlingen in Germany, where they had the inaugural session.
Did you make a note of his fastest time?
27.078. Which James is now going to write down, which is a good point because I've actually kept on the timing screens there.
Please repeat.
27.078.
And that driver was?
Kaya Ali. That was Kaya Ali first up with a 27.078, and now out on track is the number 3 of Spreng Heli, who was the star of Group 1 in the Euro B qualification. He was comfortably ahead of the other drivers in that group, and now he takes to the sand. See, on flat out pace, I didn't think he'd quite have what it takes to run with the Wolves in this SuperPole session. He may have been saving something. He may have something up his sleeve still. He's back into the lane. He returns to the lane. Vettelin continues in this warm-up. Shouts instructions to his mechanic. It's a relatively quiet pit lane to what he's used to. And he's waiting. He heads back out on the track then. There are the other 2 contestants in this round. Nikos Georgiadis and Yannick Nemizlo, the Greek and the German drivers respectively. Both could easily have gone through as top qualifiers, but in the end Tom Krajewski snatched that and took it comprehensively. So it's now a 4-way scrap as to who else will lock themselves in to the final with a day to spare. Effectively, they can go in overnight feeling confident and preparing for a final, knowing that they do not have to scrap through even a semi-final. There is no bump up needed. They are there, and they know that that will give them a huge advantage in the battle to become European champion, be it in the B class or the A class. Nerveless concentration. With sunglasses as well, making sure there's no glare in his eyes either. The sun is very bright, and the way it's shining at the moment, the late afternoon, or the mid-afternoon here in Turkey. The sun is still high in the sky. It could be causing glare problems for the drivers up there. Not for him. He's taken every precaution. He's an absolute picture of concentration running around this F-Mod Arena track. A lot of corners, a lot of potential for things to go wrong. He returns to the pit lane then with a minute or so of warm-up time still to go. Is he happy with his car? Is he happy with how it's going? Is there time for a little more tweaks on that machine? There's the timing screen right now. That's how they've run. Obviously, Kaya Ali should be displaying as your top man right now. 27.078. His best hit out.
1 minute to start.
Here we go, a minute left of warm-up. And Sprang-Heli getting a few more laps out of his car. It doesn't appear to be gripping all that well. Seems to be slipping a little bit on the track. Some of the drivers we spoke to in Ettlingham said that just the gap between the final round of qualifying and then SuperPole was enough to cool the track slightly, and the compounds that were put down in the early qualifying sessions changed just enough to take away a lot of the grip that had been built up there. And the line had been rubbered in and then it had dried and scrubbed off again. But there is no room for any errors, there's no room for mistakes, no room for any excuses really. The time is now, and Sprang-Heli knows the benchmark that he has to beat. And he knows that he's going to have to step up his fastest one lap. He's going to have to put in his fastest lap of the event by a country mile in order to beat Kaya Ali and have a shot at going for SuperPole. And he's gone back out there just ahead of the warm-up. Now I wonder if he's just going at speed round there. This lap won't count. This lap wasn't his first lap, but he's still got at least 5 minutes to do those 6 laps in. So this might be rather canny of him, get a flying lap under his belt, get into his rhythm, and then take the start of his flying laps at full speed. I think that's what he's doing here. So here comes Sprang-Heli then, under the start-finish gantry. This will be his first flying lap. It's underway then. The Czech Republic driver, ruthlessly consistent in his group in qualifying. Very strong, but that car still looking loose under acceleration. It slips and it slides. It doesn't quite change direction and stay glued to the track as he wanted to. That track looking like it's lost some grip from earlier. The line is smoothed off, and suddenly, where it stuck earlier, it's now slipping. The rear end of that car especially does not look planted at all. And you do want these cars to stay relatively planted, but you don't want it too much that they start to understeer, of course. And his first lap on the board at 28.614. That's nearly 1.6 seconds off Kaya Ali's best. He'll want better than that, and I think he is capable of better than that. Is he capable, though, of beating Ali's benchmark? Comes across the line this time at 27.976. He's in the 27s. But let's not forget that Kaya Ali's fastest lap came on his penultimate lap, so maybe you have to build up to your fastest lap. That is a possibility. I think sometimes your fastest lap comes after a few laps where you're in the rhythm and you're fully in the flow. Heli looks to me like he's struggling to get into that rhythm. There's no blemish up on the driver's stand. His poker face remains solid. Never 28.0 lap time. He needs 9/10 out of somewhere. He needs over a second, or nearly a second out of somewhere. And he's got 3 laps to do it. 3 laps to find it. As I said earlier, his 1 lap pace wasn't quite comparable to the other guys in qualifying, but it was enough to easily put him out in front in his group. And his times were still solid. Put him as the 4th qualifier overall, and another 28.8 that time.
Yeah.
James, really looks like the track is very slick out there.
Yeah, I think Heli's really struggling. You can see the back end of the car just fishtailing all round the corners. It seems a bit stabby on the acceleration as well. It doesn't sound like he's got into a rhythm at all.
No, he's really struggled here, and I wonder if part of that was due to the fact, I mean, he was comfortably quickest in his own group, and we know he was striving for the overall result, but maybe now on his own, it's a little bit more of a struggle. I mean, now at 28.9, he's actually, if anything, getting slower. So he's got 1 more lap. This has got to be it. It's got to be something, but I think, I don't want to jinx this, but I think Kaya Ali has got this one at least. He at least will be 3rd out of these guys, because I don't think Sprang-Heli is going to upset the apple cart here. 1 more time around, cross the line for the final time, and that is it to the finish. And his last lap was a 29.24, so he actually got slower as it ran on. That car just seemed to get slower the harder he pushed it. He could not get into a rhythm, and you can tell still focused. They literally do not break concentration until they get back to the garage and get back to the pit lane. But almost a full 9/10 slower than Kaya Ali. So Sprang-Heli will be 5th, well, likely, unless he's obviously better than the other 2 coming up next, but he'll be disappointed that he did not have more to offer Kaya Ali. And next up Nikos Georgiadis. And I think if you're a betting man, it's got to be between the next two drivers coming up as to who wins the SuperPole. But James, they've got a hefty target to beat. Kaya Ali's lap was a great effort, so they've got to get into the 2060s and beyond in order to secure that SuperPole spot.
What were the fastest laps of? What's the fastest lap of the TQ for the Bs at the moment? Can you remember?
That's a very good question. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember some of the B class runners, some of the top B runners running well into the 26-second bracket, mid to high 26s. So it has been possible.
Because I was thinking that with the 27-second lap, he's really going to struggle with the finalists. But remembering that the 25-second kind of laps came from the A's, not the B runners. But so I'd like to know what the B runners TQ was.
I will try and, if I can, find out for you. That'd be very interesting to know. Meanwhile, Nikos Georgiadis is out on the track right now, warming up. In the middle of his warm-up. And let's see if we can... What has he got to offer? I think, if I remember correctly, he certainly had a bit more pace to burn than the others around him. He was certainly one of the fastest in terms of one-lap speed. And he's a picture of focus up on the driver's stand. It's an unfamiliar atmosphere for the drivers. They're not used to it. They're not used to being up there on their own and under such immense scrutiny. You're just not expecting it. It's not what they're used to. And I'm just having a look here as to what the fastest laps were. Well, earlier on, interestingly, Tom Krugewski won his group with a 27.5, but earlier on in the competition he's been putting in 26.7s and 26.9s. So, I'll tell you what, Kaya Ali's target, his benchmark, pretty formidable one.
So what was the TQ for the Bs run? About 26?
He won he swept all of the groups, but one of his fastest, probably his fastest lap overall, was a 26.7. That was the TQ, obviously. As for those who didn't quite make it, well, they're going to be around that 27-second mark. I think the goal has to be sub 27 seconds. If you get there, then that means you beat Kaya Ali and you put in a ferocious benchmark for anyone else to try and match. And briefly back in the lane for a second. He's still out there though, he's warming up. Georgiadis is romping through his warm-up session. And his one-lap speed cannot be disputed. I think his consistency just let him down in the group qualifying. But his one-lap speed has been phenomenal. And I think he's really got a threat to Namislo. But first, he's got to beat Kaya Ali's very impressive time. It's looking more and more impressive by the lap, considering the lack of grip out there. And the scrub nature of the tarmac and the track surface. It appears to be losing grip rather than gaining grip. I think this is looking on to be a very daunting benchmark to beat. And I'll tell you what, James, the home fans here would blow the roof off if Kaya Ali took victory in the SuperPole here.
Yes, like just looking to see which country. Yes, from on his home turf.
The home fans would absolutely blow the roof off if one of their own managed to take out the SuperPole victory here for the Euro B Championship roster. But Nikos Georgiadis is going to have some very big words to say about that.
How big?
Very big. Very big words. And he's got 30 seconds now on the start of his run. Look at that, the tiniest finger movements and hand movements on the controls. Adjusting brake, adjusting steering. No large steering angles. The steering is so quick in these cars that even the tiniest movement is enough to get them round right then.
Of course, remember that the drivers can adjust that. They have the full adjustment in the controller, so it's really down to driver preference.
That's also very true. And we're underway, and he's going to time it to come under the start-finish line just as the klaxon sounds to begin his run. We are underway. Right then, what has he got? 27.0 is the benchmark set by Kaya Ali. What has Georgiadis got? The local derby almost. Turkey versus Greece. It's about as local as you can get in terms of neighbours. What has Georgiadis got? His car looks a lot more secure than Sprengheli. He flies under the start-finish line. A first lap of 27.767, but as we've already said, sometimes you build up to your fastest lap. That's what Kaya Ali did. His fastest lap came on his penultimate lap. It was the opposite for Sprengheli. He lost grip throughout his run. and seemed to get slower the harder he tried pushing. It was a tough ask for him. Now what of Georgiadis? What of him now? Swipes through, here we go. What's this time then? It's a 27.267. He's now down to within 0.2 of a second of Kaya Ali. And he's only 2 laps into his run. He's got 4 left. 4 bullets left in the chamber. His car is screaming for all it's worth. He's wrenching every bit of speed out. I don't think that was his ideal run through the EFRA hairpin. Rumble right up over the rumble strips.
27.078 to beat.
Here we go. What has he got that time? A 27.146. It is getting so close. And he's got 3 laps to go, so he's halfway in his run, and he's now under 1/10 of a second off of Kaya Ali's time. He's taking bigger and bigger chunks out of the rumble strips. This is the most aggressive we've seen all day. This is some of the most aggressive driving you will see all week, because it is all on the line. Nothing else matters. Look at him. He's headbutting the rumble strips. And his car is starting to slip around now. 27.6. I think he's starting to lose his rhythm, you know. Maybe he's starting to overdrive that car. He can see the target coming up.
Pushing just a bit hard when maybe a more smooth and consistent drive would have just gotten those extra 0.1 of a second to take pole, super pole.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a case that consistency and smoothness are rewarded around here. This is a track where you can't overdrive. You can't get too aggressive. And is that what's happening for Georgiadis here? What of this time? That looked better. A 28.2 though. He's getting slower. And he's going to have one final lap to do it. Kaya Ali's on tenterhooks. Georgiadis has got 1 shot left. He's got to make it count. He was just a 10th off on his fastest lap, and he is still taking enormous chunks out of the rumble strips. He's on 2 wheels through every single one.
Go.
Coming to the line now. Here we go, and he went hell for leather across the line. A 27.286. It won't be enough.
No, his overall best time there, 27.146. What did he just do there?
A huge groan from down in the lane. They know how close it was in the end. They know how unbelievably close it was in the end. But Kaya Ali then just clings on. Just clings on. So, with 3 of the 4 runners in this Euro B SuperPole session complete then, as it stands with 1 to go, it's Kaya Ali leading the way with a 27.078 lap. Nikos Georgiadis came up just short, less than a 1/10 of a second behind on the 27.146. And Sprengheli rounding things off with a 27.976. And now it's up to Yannick Nemizlo, the German driver. Is he about to spoil the home party? Certainly he was one of the quickest throughout qualifying. He was in fact provisional TQ overnight. Then Tom Gregevsky stepped up to snatch that away from him in dominant fashion. This will be his second chance, his second bite of the cherry. His all-white car is being pushed to the absolute limit around this track. Home fans be on tenterhooks, German fans too. I hope you are at home listening to this and watching this on a live stream on RC Racing TV. The EFRA 1/10 IC European Track Championships. The Euro B SuperPole session brought to you by HB Europe, D'Agostini Motorspace, VRC Pro, and EFRA.
3 minutes.
Knife edge tension. I'm honest, I've never felt tension like it in a motorsport event. It doesn't matter what scale it was, it doesn't matter what cars, motorcycles, or whatever it was involved in it. There is nothing quite like this. And I'm glad that the EFRA have introduced this SuperPole session, because it really has added some spice to the session. And what a way to conclude the qualifying rounds before we head into the finals day tomorrow. As Yannick Nemizlo continues his warm-up. He goes down the back straight, but his car not running at maximum speed at the moment, I'd say. He's certainly feeling the track out. Maybe he's seen the lack of grip from the cars in front of him. And maybe he's feeling the track out, working out where the grip is, working out how hard he can push. There's no need to turn it up to 11. I think maybe that's what cost Georgiadis in the final laps. Or maybe his tyres and chassis had enough grip for 3 laps, and then that was it. It started to fade away. That's what we saw with Sprengheli. Remember, Kaya Ali got his fastest lap after 5 of 6 laps completed. So it was on his 5th lap that he got it. And Mislow now getting into his rhythm. Getting right on the goal, on the ball. As he flies around this F1 arena track. Bright sunshine. The sun is high in the sky above us here. It's 3:30 local time. Actually coming up on 10 to 4 local time. It'll be 10 to 3 in Central Europe for European viewers. And for you British viewers as well, it'll be 10 to 2 in the afternoon. And the weather is a curious mix of breezy and scorchingly hot. Because we're down on the coast, it's not too muggy. It's not heavy. It's just sort of searing, piercing heat. And the sunshine basking this track in warmth. And you can see that top coating on the track
1 minute to start.
of the sugary substance they put down early in the day, at the start of every day, that Coca-Cola substance. There it is. Close up at that line. That line is a mix of the Coke and additives they put down of the morning. Tyre rubber, burnt off oils form that compound, and sometimes that can vary. A lot of the time it can be grippy. Sometimes if the track cools and then it gets baked on like that in the sunshine, all the grip can go away. And that's what really throws a curveball here. It really throws the cat among the pigeons with a submachine gun in these qualifying heats. And SuperPole delivering what we asked for. The grandstand's absolutely full at the far end of the track. The most packed they've been all week. They'll only fill up like that again for the races and the finals tomorrow, especially the main finals.
10, 9, 8.
If you want to get bums on seats for the SuperPole, for qualifying sessions, SuperPole is the way to do it. Because absolute tension. Some people before have debated in certain series, especially in full-scale series, how to make qualifying more interesting, how to spice up qualifying. It looks like single car is the way to go if this SuperPole session is anything to go by. Here we go then. Yannick Nemislo. What can he do? He's got a benchmark of 27.078 to beat. He was second overall through the qualifying sessions. Missed out to resurgent Tom Kragewski. And now what can he do? This car being pushed to the absolute limit, and it's going to have to be. Nikos Georgiadis fell just short in his quest to win SuperPole. Won the Nemislo feel equally short. What's his first lap? What's his opening salvo? 27.551. That's a good opening shot. That's a good start. He's right on the money already. Look at that. Massively headbutting the rumble strips at the bus stop chicane. That was Dukes of Hazzard stuff right there. All four wheels up off the ground and in the air. 10 out of 10 for the air time. One of the marks for his lap. Comes around to complete lap 2. What is it this time? 27.508. He didn't actually go faster that time. Well, he did, but not by much. Still got to find half a second to topple Kayo Ali's time. And the home fans have got to start to be dreaming of an upset here. Good there, hometown favourite, who's winning the SuperPole session. Be a hugely popular win, but Yannick Nemislo wants to be the party pooper. He's got to find half a second to do it though. What about this time? 27.421. Still 4/10 off. He's still got 3 laps to go. And he's still, look at that. Oh my word. Oh, these drivers just letting the tension get to them. Overdriving this thing too much. Is that what's happening here? It looks to me the case, because these guys are just headbutting the corners, and Nemislo hitting the bus stop chicane. Let's see how it's done for him. A 27.371. He's trimming a 10th off every time. The way he's going, his final lap's going to be the quickest. Or just about on the pace. It just looks like they're struggling to hit a rhythm here. Kayo Ali was nailing it. Is there more speed to come from Nemislo? This is where the previous 2 contestants, their runs have dropped off. Of course, Ali's fastest lap came on the 5th. This will be his 4th. Here we go. 27.278. He's got 1 lap to go. This is it. It's all or nothing. He's got to throw the Hail Mary now. Has he got anything left?
Can he shave 2/10 off in his final lap?
He is taking all sorts of liberties with the rumble strips. Here we go then. Crowd on their feet.
No,
What's Nemislo's final salvo? It's a 28.1. It's not enough. It is not enough.
Kia Ali.
And listen to the crowd. The crowd have just exploded in the grandstand at the far end. Because you know what that means? That means that the hometown hero, Kaya Ali, has won the SuperPole session for the Euro B Championship and is in the main final for the Euro B Championship tomorrow with a phenomenal opening salvo that could not be bettered by anyone out there. He had to go first and he had to wait and wait and wait and see if anyone could better his time. Well, Kaya, you can breathe a sigh of relief now because you're in the SuperPole final for the Euro B. And what